Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope y'all are having a great 4th of July weekend. I know I did. Unfortunately, this one's a day behind. That's on me. We just had a lot going on, y'all. I hope you can understand. We've had a lot going on with this move this week. It's been super stressful, but it's finally happening. We are finally moving to Iowa, so excited to see what the future holds and just ready to be done with all this packing and moving. So, on today's episode, I am joined by Taylor Kollman. Taylor is such a good dude from Dialed Archery. I'm sure a lot of you guys are following them and keeping up with all their stuff. But if you're not, I believe they've got one of the best archery sites out there, not only for looks, but functionality. And I was super excited to talk to Taylor about how they started the company, what the future is, and, also his style of hunting. He's a mobile hunter as well and lives in the state of Minnesota. And I'm really fortunate for that because honestly, we haven't had a ton of guests from Minnesota. So I was kind of excited to pick his brain on his hunting area, the hunting style over there, and also just the ins and outs of the company and, maybe the hardships and all that kind of good stuff. So hope you guys enjoy this episode. It's really a good one. I've really enjoyed it as well. Want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors that make this possible: Osseo Gear, Timberwolf Supply Company, Lone Wolf Custom Gear, and Painted Arrow Outdoors. Guys, we got a great discount code for Osseo right now. Run Gun 20. That's RUNGUN 20. Save you 20%. Get your hands on some new gear. I know we got the new RapX pattern that just came out. That's freaking awesome. Really excited for that. And then for Painted Arrow Outdoors, use Run and Gun 15 to save 15% at checkout. We got some giveaways coming up soon. We're approaching on our 3rd year doing this, so I can't thank you all enough for the support. Really, it means so much to me. I've had several of you guys reach out here recently. I don't know what's been going on, but just know how much it means to me, and I really appreciate each and all of you. Let's get into our quote of the week. I really enjoyed this quote that came across me, and it is honestly from somebody that I don't know. So we didn't have an author on this one, but I hope you all like it. To elevate, you must separate, not out of pride, but purpose. Growth requires distance from what holds you down. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It's absolutely the truth too. From doing this move, man, I mean, I've learned, sometimes you just got to let go of things and move on to the next chapter of your life. So let's get into today's episode with Taylor Kollman. So what's going on, Taylor? Pleasure to have you joining us today, man.
Yeah, thank you. No, I don't get on very many podcasts, so it's usually I stick Scott on any podcast related to Dialed Archery. He's my business partner and founder of Dialed, and he does a lot better job of articulating the story of Dialed, but you caught me at a good time last week, and I figured we'd jump on.
Yeah, man. No, I really appreciate your time, brother. I know right now with TAC and everything else going on, I'm sure you guys are swamped, and I really enjoy, the weekly updates you guys have been doing. Well, you've been doing. That's kind of why I reached out to you. I just figured you were kind of taking over maybe the social media side of stuff. I don't seem to see Scott as much, but he's a super nice guy, man. When I got my dialed site last year, he was very helpful. So shout out to Scott if he's listening to this. I appreciate you, man. Man, let's get a little background on you before we get into today's episode. You're from, you said central Minnesota. I just kind of wanted to get a
Yep.
little background and, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into hunting.
Yeah. Yeah. So I live in Painesville, Minnesota, which is right in the central part of the state, a little bit west central. We're about 2 hours away from Minneapolis and St. Paul area. But right in the middle of farm country, lots of ag and lots of swamp ground and that type of stuff for hunting, and definitely have a lot of big bucks running around. So it's been fun to grow up here and chase after the big whitetail. But I grew up actually an hour and a half further west from here, and grew up hunting with my dad from the age of 4 on. I remember going out with him, sitting on the floor of a ground blind, sleeping essentially just because I didn't know what to do and we weren't seeing any deer.
Yeah.
But it was good experiences, and I've grown up hunting, didn't know anything else, and it's been it's been a wild ride to get to this point now with owning two businesses that are in the hunting space, and yeah, just seeing everybody getting behind Dialed Archery has been quite a blessing, and honestly, it's been an honor to see everybody supporting us and trusting us with their hunts.
Yeah. No, man, I absolutely love mine. It's we'll get into a little bit of that here soon about like the company and stuff, but when did you really start bow hunting?
I started bow hunting on my own, like actually hunting myself when I was 12.
Oh,
In
that's
Minnesota
awesome.
here, you can take a bow out when you're 12 as long as you could. At that time, you had to pull 40 pounds.
Okay.
Now they've changed it to 30,
Wow, really? That's crazy.
which seems a little light, but when I was 12 years old, the rule was 40 pounds is what you had to pull. So I remember coming into that summer before that fall hunting season, I was like, I was practicing all the time because I couldn't quite get to 40, and my dad was like, "You're not going unless you can get to 40 pounds." So I was shooting every day, just trying to get that muscle built up. But yeah, I've been hunting, bow hunting ever since. Like I skip a lot of gun seasons and just take my bow with me because that's just where my passion lies. And it's nothing against guns. It's just I always sit there thinking like, hey, if I take a gun with me and I shoot a deer, will I be as excited as getting a chance to shoot one with my bow?
Yeah.
So I end up just taking my bow with me a lot of times, wearing the orange vest and just
Yeah, man. Nothing wrong
ripping
with
through
that.
gun season with the bow.
Yep,
So
I do the same thing, man. It's it's hilarious when you pull up to a farm that you're sharing permission with somebody else, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And
yeah.
you're like, "Man, I'm just hunting." They're like, "Dude, you are so dedicated." Like, and I'm like, "It's just what I want to do, man." But it's kind of funny because my strategies, I end up usually seeing a lot more deer than that guy sitting on a field edge. It's like if you just get down in the
Yeah.
bottoms, I'd come out and he's like, "Well, how many deer did you see today?" And I'm like, "How many did you see?" He's like, "I saw
Yeah.
2 bucks." And I'm like, "I saw like 25 deer this morning." And he's like, "No way. Where were you at?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was down here, whatever, kind of like la di da about it.
This gets into this really gets into a whole campfire chat. I mean, you could talk about this for 3 hours. It can get pretty complex in the reasonings, but like it, I've had the conversation with friends before where, you know, I'd rather see a good buck during gun season,
Yeah.
just lay eyes on them, even if it's at 80 yards.
Right.
I'd rather see a mature buck with my bow in hand than to go with a gun and not see anything at all.
Yeah.
And that you play this push and pull because it's like, well, if you went to the same deer stand and you saw it at 80, you could have shot it with a gun. But that's the thing I always roll through in my head is like, man, I just want to put myself in a spot to lay eyes on a good buck during daylight.
Yeah.
And I'd rather shoot him with a bow.
Right.
So
Now, I
it's
took
fun.
one of my best deer I shot in Kentucky. It was the last day of late season muzzleloader. And man, I grinded all through rifle with the bow, and I picked up the muzzleloader and I took him. The wind was terrible. I was gonna bow hunt him, but anyway, long story short, it just didn't feel the same, man. And it just really drove me more and more to just be like, you know what? Like whatever anybody says doesn't matter. It's my hunt, and it's what I enjoy doing, and you get so much more out of the hunt, in my opinion, because if I took a
And
gun with me
I
all
don't
the
know if it's the
time,
same.
yeah, it's just too easy to me. But to each their own. I don't have
Yeah.
anything against it either.
I don't know if it's the same for you, but I've gone out on some Western hunts in the last 10 years, gone out mule deer hunting in Wyoming, gone to Montana a couple times with some buddies, and it's going mule deer hunting with a rifle is, it feels like it's almost more challenging than going bow hunting for whitetail. And I don't know if that's just because you're so used to hunting, on your home ground, you just understand the properties and all that stuff. But that's where I go back and forth. And like, I have nothing against guns. Like going mule deer hunting and carrying a rifle around is a blast.
Yeah.
Like it's like a totally different type of hunt.
Hmm.
You get to do some spot and stock and, kind of get strategic with like moving around the hills and dropping down into the valley and stuff. But, um, yeah, sitting in a deer stand with a gun in hand is just not quite the same. I would agree with you.
Yeah. Well, man, we were talking a little bit before we started recording, and you said you was it recently that you started hunting public, or have you been doing that for a while?
No, I would say it's honestly in the last half dozen years.
Okay.
The first part of my hunting career, I'm 33 right now, and from the age of 12 all the way up to the upper 20-year-old range, I've just hunted a lot with my dad. Like we've um, spent a lot of time and effort, and he's invested in buying land. So we've done the whole buy a farm, work your tail off on that property to get trees planted and food plots and water holes and doing the whole thing that way. So my mind for the first, you know, 18 years of hunting was a lot focused around spending time on that specific 130 acres and trying to kill a deer after you've done all that sweat equity. You're like, well, I gotta hunt here.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah. It
Um,
almost
and
pigeonholes you, right? Like,
it does,
you
it
get
does. And
burned out a little bit. But I totally get what you're saying too. I mean, I love the habitat management side, but I had a lease that was the same
yeah,
size, and it was like, I like to mention that it's like, man, like it's almost a curse sometimes because you're like, I spent this money, I spent all this effort, I've done this, I've done that, and then it's like,
exactly. And it actually was looking back at it, it was a blessing. Uh, like I said, it was probably about five years ago or so. My cousin, who I hunt with quite a bit, or we don't hunt together, but we go through the hunting season together. We're talking every day about what he saw, what I'm seeing, that kind of thing. And he has property about a half mile away. And um, that year, going into the hunting season, neither of us had a buck over 3 years old on either of our properties
yeah,
on trail camera, which was like unheard of for where our properties are. Like usually we've got a few good ones that you're chasing, and
hmm,
both of us didn't have anything. So we looked at each other and we're like, well, we have all this nice hunting gear with, saddles and lightweight equipment. It's like, why don't we try chasing around in some of this public land? Because right here in the middle part of Minnesota, there's quite a bit of public land that's essentially how it kind of becomes public is it's just not farmable.
okay,
So then the state ends up acquiring it. So it's a lot of like low ground or too rough a terrain for the egg fields in
hmm,
the area. So you got a lot of heavy egg, but then it'll just like drop down into a bottom, and that whole, say like 60 acres of a corner of where a pivot can't hit or they can't farm it, ends up being state land
right,
over time. And so it's a lot of good ground.
yeah. I'd imagine it kind of
And
just sounds like good bedding and stuff like that.
it ends up being really good. It still gets its pressures, just like public land gets. But so that year we actually went out probably close to 30 times. Both of us just like dedicated the hunting season to going out on public. And it really opened up my eyes to that style of hunting.
Hmm.
And um, neither of us killed that fall on public, but there was uh, three times, he had two times, I had three times that we had bucks with underneath 30 that were shooters, that
Yeah,
were good mature deer. And it was just, honestly, it was one of those deals of the struggles of public land is don't can't cut all your shooting lanes and all that type of stuff. So you're sitting
yeah,
there with a deer within shooting range and you can't even shoot them. But it was just awesome to be that, like I said earlier, it's just to be that close to the the thing that you're hunting, is you walk out of that hunt feeling successful.
oh yeah,
So
absolutely, man. No, and
so
it's
after that it's been a lot more open perspective on not feeling pigeonholed into that private, and really keeping an eye out on all the surrounding area every summer to see if you can catch a glimpse of a good one.
Hmm. That's awesome, man. What's your favorite setup? What are you running nowadays?
I've gone through quite the evolution of gear. I mean, I started that first year hunting public. It was all saddle. It
Okay.
was just a lot of sitting in a saddle with like a two-step stick, trying to use three or four sticks to get up to. I try to get up to like 20 feet up in a tree.
Okay.
So it was a lot of trying to get four sticks up in a tree. But honestly, I've had quite the quarrels with sticks and saddle hunting and being comfortable in a tree and like what is it that I really want to do in the tree. And it's I've gone all the way back to where I'm carrying a three-step heavier stick now that I have a cam buckle on that I can really latch down on the tree because I had a stick kick out on me 2 years ago and I slid 12 feet down a tree.
Oh man.
Almost busted my chin open on the stick below me as I slid down the tree and was like, I'll carry in a little extra weight just to be able to really cinch that stick down tight
Yeah.
and then the three-step sticks help me get a lot further up in the tree too. So
Yeah.
I just kind of prefer that. But
I gotta ask you, man. How come you hunt so high? Is it just like the terrain there? Do you need to be higher, or we? A lot of our guests and like myself included, I've kind of I used to hunt around 20 feet, and now like it's weird if I hunt over 12 feet. Like I hunt a lot
okay.
lower now. So I was
I
just
definitely
curious.
have hunted lower.
Yeah.
I've definitely hunted lower in the tree. Just say you're looking around and you're like, I really want to be in this pinch or this funnel point,
Hmm.
and this is the only tree I can get up in, so I'm just going to go right here. Or you're like looking at the time and you're like, all right, I got to get up in the tree.
Yeah.
Um, but I I think it's not so much trying to hide from the deer as it is my own uh, personal preference to be able to like see as far as possible.
Okay.
Like I love when I'm sit to be able to sit in a spot and just be able to see over the top of like the brush line that's at 100 yards away or whatever it is. It's not for the success of the close like where you're going to get your shots. It's more of I just like it going all the way back to being on the ground. I hate hunting on the ground.
Okay.
Like I know guys that are successful all the time sitting on the ground, like on the edge of a cattail marsh or something. They bury themselves into cattails and wait for that buck to come out of his bed and shoot him at 9 yards.
Yeah.
Um, I just, dude, I get so fidgety up in a tree. I gotta be able to see a long ways, and I'm constantly in my binoculars just checking stuff out.
I got you.
So
I got you. That's cool. No, I mean, do you run stands too, or have you just gravitated
yeah,
more towards the saddle side of things? You're like 50-50, just
my
depends
fa
on the day.
my favorite setup right now is a lightweight stand with a saddle.
Okay.
Like I'll use my saddle as my safety harness.
Okay.
That way I can stand as if I'm saddle hunting
Yeah.
with my like facing the tree,
Hmm.
or I can sit down. I go to North Dakota and hunt some public land whitetail hunting, and it's a lot of all day sits, even not during the rut. You're out there for the long weekend, and we go out in the morning, and if the wind's going to be the right direction for that spot the whole day, we'll just plop our butts down and bring a couple sandwiches with, and so I like to be able to have that flexibility of sit for a little bit if I have to, or sit like it's a saddle
I got you.
for other times. I don't get pinch points at all. But I don't have any issues with it, like pinching on my hips. Like
Nice.
I have a couple guys that struggle with saddles pinching on their hip area, but
Yeah.
it's more just flexibility.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I like to hybrid style hunt, if you want to call it that. Like, just depends on the situation, but I love having that tree in front of me usually to break up, my outline if I have a deer coming in. And I don't know.
Oh, it's
To
great.
each their own. Some people hate the saddle. I know a lot of our listeners are 50-50 saddle or stand. So It's just it's
Yeah.
worked for me. I love it for filming aspect too. Being a right-handed
You
shooter.
know, I've really come to enjoy the saddle for uh almost like the comfort in the tree
Yeah.
in the time of shooting,
Hmm.
where I've just got that constant pressure of the rope,
Yeah.
to like lean into and
Mhm.
just not. I've had it happen a couple times with a safety harness where you stand up to like pivot and turn around, say a deer's coming in behind you, and now you no longer have your back to the tree that your stand is on,
Yeah.
and you're almost like freestanding out at the edge of your platform with your safety harness. I never pull tight on my safety harness. Where like with the saddle, I just lean into that rope and it's just like it's right there, and I know exactly how far I can like pivot around, and
Yeah.
um, just have that constant tension is nice.
Yeah. It gives you. I feel like it gives you that extra stability. You can just use your core and lock in. I mean, I like being able to draw and then pivot at that last second to execute the shot. And yeah, some people hate it, but hey, like
Yeah.
I say, to each their
Have
own.
you have you ever had it where you get to full draw and just with where the deer happens to be, you find that you can rest your back elbow like
Oh
on the
yeah.
side of the tree?
Oh yeah. No,
Dude,
and
it like locks you in.
oh, for sure. No, and I've really enjoyed, like, I like having one knee on the tree, and then I feel like if I've got that, my stability is insane. I mean, it's just most of the deer I shoot are at like 20 yards or sub 20. So it's not a very difficult shot, but just, I mean, I've had tons of times where I've got to stay at full draw for over a minute. Like I've, from filming and stuff, I've been able to time it, and it's like, man, like if I didn't have that, extra little angle there to like lock in, I mean, I feel like I would be shaking a little more.
Oh
But
yeah.
you know, yeah, it's a huge battle. It's always a gamut that we get down and into the nitty gritty with different guys, and you either love it or you hate it. But it works for me, and
Oh,
it's a
it,
definitely
it's
staying.
just like the broadhead talk.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
absolutely.
the same thing.
Yeah, only the saddle hunters who get way more shit talk though. I mean, let's just be honest. It's like there's some kind of like if you're a diehard stand guy, like you can't help but talk crap to the saddle guys. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. We've had plenty of conversations about that. But to kind of touch on some other things, man. I mean, in Minnesota, what's like your average? You're one of, I think I've only had a couple guys on from Minnesota, and I'm really interested. Like, what's like a good deer, like the average size bucks that you guys are usually getting on there, and are they giant bodied
Hmm.
deer? Are they like 300 pounders or?
No, definitely not where I'm at here in the middle part of the state. It's definitely like average mature buck size is between 180 and 220 field dressed.
Okay.
You're not seeing a deer get to be like the Canadian whitetail size.
Yeah.
It's not like that. But every so often you do hear of a deer field dressing and it is 260 or something.
Yeah.
But typically not. And then as far as like antler size goes, I mean, now don't everybody just come running to the state, but I think Minnesota's a sleeper.
Mhm.
There's a few things about Minnesota's DNR decisions that's a little bit annoying around the way the state is set up. But as far as growing big deer, the Minnesota egg country is very capable of growing some big bucks. And I'd say typically every summer we're watching bucks out on hay fields and whatnot, pushing that 150 to 180 range,
Okay.
where you're
Yeah.
seeing multiple bucks in that range.
That's awesome, man.
And it's you know yeah, I shot a buck when I was 14, so 2 years into hunting. This was with a shotgun. This was when I was young, and we hunted whatever season was open. But my biggest buck I ever shot was 182 inches,
Man, that's awesome.
up here with a shotgun.
Yeah.
So
Did you
yeah, no,
realize like
it's
how big he was? Like, I mean, I
and
imagine you were raised in hunting, so like, was your dad like freaking out or what?
oh, dude, so I shot it, and we actually let it sit. I didn't, from the stand, I did not see it fall down. So we let it sit overnight. It was middle of November, so it was like 30 degrees that night. We went back in the morning, and with it was on my uncle's property, and both my dad and my uncle are just hardcore deer hunters.
Yeah.
And we walk out to where I last saw the deer, and the deer was laying right there. Like
Oh no.
where I had last seen the deer, he had fallen over.
Yeah,
I just didn't think he had fallen over
I got it.
because I didn't quite know what I was doing at that time. But no, it was pretty hilarious because I was standing there like on like the spine side of the deer. My uncle jumped over the deer and tackled me, just straight up tackled me to the ground. And he's like, "You have no idea what you just did." I was like, yeah, I definitely didn't understand it until
Yeah.
say 3, 4 years later. And it's like, man, killing a big deer is hard
Yeah. Yeah.
after my second season of shooting a big one.
Right.
But
No, that's insane, man. Yeah, you don't hear about many 14-year-olds
yeah,
killing 180s. It's kind of comical around here
no,
where I live in Kentucky. Like, it's a good area, but it's like, it's really spotty. Like, there's giant deer every year around here, but it never fails, Taylor. Like, every year, these mega 200-inch deer get killed by teenagers. There was a girl down the road 10 minutes. Like, she was her first deer ever. I think she was 14. It was like a 208. And then a deer I was able to chase was like 240 inches. A 13-year-old kid killed that. Um, all the time. It's always like, it's always comical to me. Like, I'm like, yeah, well, I guess just beginner's luck or whatever the situation is. I mean, I'm happy for them, but at the same time, it's like, I wonder if they know what they did, like,
no, yeah, they don't. Our the joke that we have around here because we're so close to like Minnesota is only 6.5 million people, and then 5 million of those people live in the Twin Cities.
right.
And so the rest of the state is like just over 1 million total people. But the joke out in the country area is all right during gun season for 2 weekends, the whole city's grabs a gun and heads out to the woods.
Right.
So there's just, and it's crazy because we're all sitting here like we know these deer for multiple years, and then you get this one that's blows up into like a 190 or 200-inch deer, and somebody from the cities comes up and hunts for 4 hours the first day of gun hunting and shoots it, and they
Yeah.
just like don't even know what they shot.
Yeah.
But
We have the same
it's
thing. Everybody from Louisville
yeah,
or Louisville, like, they all flood our counties, like the two counties we have. And it's like, it's driven up what just from the 5 years I've lived here in Kentucky, like lease costs used to be like maybe $10 an acre. Now they're up to like 40. And it's like, oh man, like it's just ridiculous. People, some of my friends are losing farms to hunting leases. And I mean, even farms I've leased, they're like, oh, well, we got these other guys, they're willing to lease it for 3 times their price. And I was like, well, I can't compete with that. And like, that's not
yeah,
like, what's it to you, man? Like,
yeah,
you hunt the neighboring property. Do you want me as a neighbor, or do you want like somebody that's going to like shoot everything that walks? I mean, I don't know. You make up your mind on what you want to do, but I don't know. That's
right,
another rabbit hole there to go down, but that's awesome, man.
for sure.
I really, I had a feeling that, Minnesota was a kind of a sleeper state. It just seemed to constantly produce a lot of big deer. And am I wrong in saying does Jeff Sturgis live in Minnesota now? Did he build a farm
Yeah,
there?
he's
Yeah,
in the south. Yep, he's in the southeastern part of the state.
yeah, I thought so.
And that area that like it's a lot of rolling hills and ag country as well. It's
Yeah,
very similar to Iowa
yeah,
down in the
it's
southeastern part of
beautiful,
the
man.
state.
Yeah, it's a really pretty
Hmm.
state. I'm looking forward to it. Moving to Iowa here soon. I want to start trying to hit some more of these like northern states that I've never been to. I've never been to Wisconsin or Minnesota, so I won't be too far
Yeah,
away from you guys. But well, let's get into,
yeah,
how like Dialed really got started. Like, I feel like you guys have really filled a huge void that the archery world needed. We started off with Spot Hog. They were kind of like them and HHA. I mean, in my opinion, like they kind of started off with like the whole, single pin on a dial. But I mean, there's no denying you guys have got the sexiest, site that's out there available. And I'm just
yep,
curious, like how you guys got started, how you Was it you and Scott that started this company, or?
Yep. Yep. So Scott and I have had met earlier in our careers, just from being in the archery space. So I actually own a media production company as well, with Jordan Riley, called Captured Creative.
Mhm.
So we've got multiple employees on that side of the fence too, that are, we're constantly working with companies like Matthews and Vortex and First Light, Sitka, on creating content in that space. And we had met Scott and didn't do anything right out of the gate with, we didn't like just jump in and start a company right away, but we were, like-minded with our beliefs and our personalities and such. And we were just, you know, wanting to create something more for our own personal lives and take on a new challenge. And it when we initially sat down, it wasn't even to start necessarily like start a site company. We had talked about a few other items outside of even hunting. But at the end of the day, we circled back to like, what are we most passionate about? Because that when things get hard, your passion is what you got to kind of roll back into and lean on, to keep motivating you to get up every day. And
Yeah.
it's we both really like archery, and we started the company as we saw a void in, honestly, it pairs all the way down to customer relations. Just we both had really bad experiences with multiple companies and the way they were treating us as consumers,
Hmm.
and just like the lack of communication. So we were like, let's start a company where we really focus on the customer experience and making sure that the customer is heard, not only in like product development, but also in when there is an issue, we're there to take care of them. So that's been at the forefront of Dialed Archery since we started. And I think that our customers are constantly, I see messages all the time on Instagram and Facebook of customers jumping in and um, showing Dialed love for our customer support and what we bring to the community.
Yeah. No, man, I'm very fortunate to be associated with Lone Wolf Custom Gear, and I feel like you guys are like the Lone Wolf Custom Gear of the archery sites. Like, you're listening to your customers. The customization is just amazing. Like, you've got a site for every color. You've got everybody can totally change everything in the site. That was the coolest thing to me. I got a RX-8 last year, and I was so stoked to just go on your website's amazing too, to just be able to like, detailed, like, all right, I want to get a black dial with like the OD green, and it's just a super, super good layout that you guys have. And then, to see you guys take, I feel like there was a lot of like, niche little criticism on the beginning with the Axeros, and now you guys turned it
Yep.
into the proof and like really worked the bugs out with it. And I'm so excited to see what you guys do in the next 5 years. Like, what's the next evolution? And it's really cool to see that, man. And I feel like, I hope that like more community or more companies like take on that mantra, in business. And like, you guys have got great customer service, you've got great products, you try to, make something special for everybody, and you get what you pay for. It is an expensive site, but in my opinion, like, if you want one site that's going to last you for, a long time, it's a great investment.
Oh yeah. No, and the investment side of it, it really comes down to like, we're not sitting here just raking in a bunch of money and
Yeah.
becoming rich off of this.
Yeah.
Like, Scott and I are dumping all of everything that we make back into producing more sites, taking on more dealers. We've invested in our employees around the shop here. We've hired like 4 full-time employees the last 3 months here. It's a lot of it comes down to, we've right out of the gate, we were like, what's most important? It's customer service, and it's USA made.
Yeah.
And when you want to stay USA made, and you want to build a quality team to provide the customer support that you need to, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've learned through a lot of trial and error, honestly. With the Arxos, it was, there was a couple things that we didn't see coming until we had launched it, and there was lots of sites out in the market, and the only way for us to um, make good on our word, or our the fact that somebody had supported us and given us their money, was to support them and provide um, care, and shipping out replacement part or whatever we needed to do. We were doing it. And I think that the thing that you were getting at earlier is like wanting to see more companies take what the customers are saying and listen to that, and not just be like, well, we gotta let this product cycle run for 5 years to
Right.
make its money back or whatever. And it's like, we looked at it as, well, this is our very first product that we're launching with. We see opportunities for improvement, and our customers are asking us for it. So that's why we created the proof and just decided to, push it out as fast as we could. It's kind of fun because we're not looking at our competition and trying to like be reactionary to what our competition is doing. We're just like looking at what we want to do next,
Yeah.
what features we want to release next, and um, it's fun. It's like we're on our own little ship, just
Yeah, man.
just
That's what
point,
that's
pointing out
the way to
to
do it.
set to voyage. So
Yeah. Yeah, no.
yeah,
That's the definition of success, man. Like can't be looking behind you. You got to keep your eyes ahead. And I think you
yeah,
guys are doing a great job, man. I mean, now like let's get into a little bit of like the setbacks that you guys have had. Like what's been like one of the toughest things for you guys, launching this company, because I feel like we go to TAC and I see tons and tons of these sites out there. And I mean, I imagine, you guys have had to have some like serious hurdles when you originally launched this. I mean, what's been some of the hardest things for you guys?
yeah. Man, it's I've got quite the mindset that I've developed over the years to kind of forget about some of that stuff,
Yeah,
because otherwise you just like can't dwell on it, because
right.
then it's like already past. So let's just problem solve this and get through it. But man, there's stuff like every week that you run into when you're running a business. But I'd say like some of our biggest s- trials that we've run into is like, getting in hundreds of a specific part, and then it not being perfectly fit, but you have to pay for it all anyways. So you're just eating the cost of
Yeah,
material. That's hard. And then that sets you back on being able to ship product, because you were anticipating all that product being good. So then when it shows up and it's not, now you're delayed weeks
right.
before you get the good stuff back in.
Hmm.
That's always a difficulty that I feel like the customers don't understand. Um, is just this like, we're a small business. We can only afford to order like X amount of product. And if it comes in and it's not to spec, we're, we have to eat it and try to save face with our customers.
Yeah,
Um, but we're sitting there turning around like, where the heck are we going to get the money to pay for this when we thought this was all gonna, all this product was going to work? But um, no, that as far as like really difficult stuff, I'd say just probably the most difficult thing with Dialed Archery is, it still to this day is, it's Scott and I's money. It's our lives, it's our money. There's nobody else. There's nobody like big investment company just like,
back
sending
in.
us hundreds of
Yeah,
thousands of dollars to pay for stuff.
right.
It's all just us. Like, I have a second mortgage on my place. Scott cashed in all of his retirement accounts to start Dialed Archery, and you know, we we just, we believe wholeheartedly in what we're doing, and we're hoping to that one day it pays off for us. But
Yeah,
it's just a grind. Every day is a grind, and
putting out
it's
fires.
never just, oh man, it's not just sunshine and rainbows.
No.
Like, wow, you guys have sold. I get messages probably once a month I'll get a message because we post those updates from the shop where I'm holding the camera.
Yeah.
I got my phone up here filming, and you can see, say a table's worth of sites behind me, and somebody will count. So they'll pause the video and they'll count how many sites it is on the table, and it's like, wow, you guys, $500 at a pop, and man, that's 30 grand right there on the table, and it's like, you have no idea
Yeah.
the amount of expenses and cost and everything that goes into running a business, and that's not that comment. That comment doesn't bother me. I
Right.
don't get worked up about
Right.
hardly anything anymore. But it's it's more like just the process of what goes into trying to run a hard goods manufacturing business. Definitely just it's a struggle every day. If I didn't have the support of my wife at home, like she's just so stoic in the way she supports
No, that's
everything
awesome.
I do. And if I didn't have that, I'd probably would have folded a long time ago.
Yeah. No,
But
it takes a team, man. I can only imagine. And I know just a little bit from the limo side of things. It's like, everybody starts bitching online. Oh, where's this? Where's that? It's like, oh, we're waiting on one bolt that we need, like this one specific bolt that has to be zinc plated so it doesn't rust. And it's like, I mean, just manufacturing in general nowadays is just so tough. I mean, are you guys doing all of your own, like, do you have your own machine shop, like at the shop itself?
no,
No.
so at we right here at headquarters in Cold Spring, we do all of the assembly and the fulfillment.
Okay.
Um, we do all of the finishing, like all the hydro dipping and Cerakote work, at a shop just on the like an hour away from headquarters here.
Hmm.
We're probably over there 4 days a week picking up parts and dropping off parts. But and then all of our machining happens. There's a bunch of it that happens about an hour away right here in Minnesota. And then we've got two shops in Indiana that do a couple different components. And then we've got one shop out in Virginia that does a bunch of work for us.
Okay.
So um, yeah, no, it's all right here in the United States, but it's kind of spread around. And um, yeah, but we work with like those four shops that I mentioned have been with us like for the long haul. Like we don't jump around and just, you know, job shop out to whoever
Right.
can make it cheapest. Like we work really closely with our manufacturers. They're all close friends of mine at this point, and we work together to come up with the next solution. Or like when it comes to building the proof, like it was looking at specific components and like how can we machine this to be more cost effective, or how can we make it so the machine can run faster. Like
Right.
it's a very much so a team
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. And I mean, I can tell from what I know a little bit with, machining and stuff like that, like the tolerances you guys have are crazy good. There's no play, you know what I mean? There's nothing sloppy in anything. It's really well made. Um, when you guys got started, like, did TAC have anything to do with your design? Like, did you guys kind of tailor your site around shooting beyond 100 yards? Because for me, last year I actually shot my first TAC. I've always wanted to, but I've never really had one close to me where, and they did one that was in like Louisville, and it was like right above Louisville in New Albany, Indiana. And I shot 130 yards with a pin, and I was like, holy crap, like I
Yeah.
can't, I've never been able to shoot past, and it was a heavier arrow. I should have went with a lighter arrow. I probably could shoot even farther, but I mean, was that part of
Yeah.
the intention behind the design?
You know, it I'm not gonna lie, like we didn't sit down and just be like, oh, we need to make a site that's really good for tack.
Right.
Um, but we the angled elevation system is perfect for tack. It's perfect for 3D courses, shooting long distance in the summertime. Um, that angled system, it is a no BS way to gain yards off of everybody's setup.
Yeah.
We see a lot of guys that go from a standard vertical rail to our angled rail, and they'll in the same day, like we're putting the proof on their bow at a tack event, and we see them shoot 25, 30 yards farther with the exact same setup.
Yeah.
Um, that's really, it's really cool to be able to see the technology do that much for somebody.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
it
And
it's taken it's quite the I don't know if you've ever built a house or anything, but if you've ever dealt with trying to build some like an angle or like a some like if you try to build a house that's not just a square, like I on my house right now I built a entryway that's like a it comes off and it's kind of like a trapezoid shape, so we got goofy angles,
yeah.
and that the proof is the exact same issues that you run into on the construction side with like that angled rail
Hmm.
not being just a straight 90 from like all the other components.
Right.
It creates such a headache when you're trying to machine all those components.
Yeah.
Anything around that 20-degree angle is just a mess.
Right.
um, the machinists are always rolling their eyes, like making custom fixtures to try to machine stuff to spec, and
Yeah.
it's been quite the headache.
I can
But
I can imagine, man. I mean, when you guys got started, was that something you were like, hey, like if we angle this, you could actually get a lot farther, or was it just like,
yeah,
and it was more intentional? It wasn't like, oh, hey, well, let's just, R&D this and see what happens, or was it like,
no, it was intentional.
okay,
We didn't quite know how much it was going to do.
okay,
Like we didn't know if it'd be a 5 yard, save us 5 yards or save 20 yards
yeah,
for the shooter. But as soon as we got it out into the field with the first Arxos prototypes, it was quite apparent that we had done something that was really going to affect people's ability to shoot long
yeah.
distance.
The other thing that was really cool to me, like on top of all this, was the fibers that you guys use in your scope housing. I don't think I've ever had like that bright of a pin without having a light on it.
Yeah,
It's been amazing. And then having the little bit of adjustment you can have, for like if it's really, really bright. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's just on top. It actually, all the fibers are on top of the site, and then you can cover it with this little housing. And you do have the
yep,
lights too. I've honestly, I've just never seen a use to get one. I mean, I feel like the fibers stay really bright. I've never had an issue. I've shot a couple does like at last light with it, and I didn't have an issue at all.
yeah, yeah. So I part of my job at Dialed is working really closely with our engineers to test ideas, and just put equipment through the test and like really pay attention to its effectiveness in the field. So like when I'm going hunting, I'm constantly setting up my gear for like the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll take like the 10,000ths pin size, which is the smaller one, and the 10,000ths pin to the 19,000ths pin. The really big determining factor for somebody trying to pick between those is like 10,000ths lets you shoot farther, 19,000ths holds light better
Right.
because the 10,000 is half the size of the 19. So I'll take a 10,000ths pin size and I'll go hunt like in the middle of the timber.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had it on like a cloudy day in the middle of the tree canopy. And I can see my 10,000ths pins glowing 8-10 minutes before legal shooting light in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm very critical of everything that we do at Dialed. I'm extremely critical and watching the minutes on my watch, as it's getting to be daylight. And it's like, no bullshit. I've never had a moment in the tree stand that I couldn't see my pins before legal light
Yeah.
or after legal light when you're
Right.
still in the tree.
Yeah.
So, because I'm always like trying to be really critical to make sure that we put our best foot forward for our customers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really interesting to see that, through the testing processes of that, of like how bright the pins truly are.
That's what
It's
I
been
have.
cool.
I have a 10 on mine. I got the 3-pin, and I love it. I mean, I was really nervous when I was ordering my sight. That was one of the things I talked to Scott about. And like to bring that up, I mean, what's one of the most commonly asked questions you guys get from your customers?
Oh man,
Is that to
probably
put you on the spot?
probably lead time.
Lead time.
Probably
Yeah.
probably when their site is going to ship.
Okay. Well, like more technical
We've
side,
gotten
I
it.
guess, like
No, I know.
not
Yeah, I know.
shipping
I know.
related, but
Um, Probably. Let me think. Gosh, probably the pin size thing
yeah.
is that is probably the thing that get and like the site end process.
Okay.
I think like the unique design of the site, like just the cleanliness of it, makes people feel like it's de-featured and
Yeah.
it's not going to have the same capabilities that a site with all the bolt heads showing and stuff is going to have. But in reality, we've got first access, second access, third access, all independent of each other, which makes it very easy to site in.
Yeah.
And then the the process to getting your site tape is also just very user friendly.
Hmm.
And I think lots of times the design of the site is can be a little bit almost like trump the person's feelings on how they should set up the site or like site in the first time. And you start explaining it to them, they're like, "Oh, so like the same as any other site." Yes, yes, just the
Yeah.
exact same process
Yeah.
as any other site. It's really quite simple.
Yeah.
Simple. So, but back to your like, probably the most common question is based around like, "Hey, do you recommend the 3V, the 1V, or 3H or 5H meg for the pin configurations, and then also pin size?"
Yeah.
Like guys are constantly on like a horizontal pin meg. They're constantly asking us like, "Hey, can I do a 19 thousandths and then a 10 thousandths and a 10 thousandths?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we can do that. Just put it in your notes at order.
Yeah. That's huge. That's
But
going to be not my next site. I'm definitely going to go that route just for like a,
yeah,
low light 20-yard shot, like whatever. Just put it on there and send
yep,
it. And then if you got a farther
yeah,
shot, I'd probably use my second pin or something.
right,
Yeah, I kind of missed that. I'm
yeah,
really glad that you guys did the horizontal pin. Last year that was like my first time with a vertical pin, and it wasn't an issue because like I always just use the top pin anyway. But I
hmm
don't know. I was really stoked to see the improvement on the proof with that setup there.
yeah. It was a highly requested thing for us to release last year, and it's been overwhelming positivity around it, which I didn't know how the market would take it when we launched, more pin configurations. Is it going to get more confusing for our customers when they're in their ordering process? Sometimes they say like more options is just more confusion.
Yeah,
But guys have really liked having it. And um, yeah, I get a lot of comments too on just the durability of our pins inside of the housing.
oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
that we make them out of steel, and they're very rigid. And shoot, we've heard some horror stories from guys of like running through the chase an elk or something, and uh, they're like, "Yeah, I had a branch completely go through my housing, and I thought I had wrecked something for sure, and I stood back up or looked down at my sight, and everything was completely fine, and I just kept on trucking." It's like,
Yeah,
that's good.
no, it is,
It's
man.
not good. Like, don't do that on purpose, but
Right. Yeah.
that's great to hear.
No, the post is super solid, man. I really like how you guys have run the fibers inside of there too to totally make them streamline and like they don't stick out. I know I've had other sites in the past where it's like, man, if I did that with an old site and ran a stick or a branch through it, it would easily just knock that fiber right off of there. And I think that's one of the hardest things is like a whitetail hunter. I feel like my biggest thing I've always wanted in my sight is durability because I'm really hard on my equipment. And I feel like the hardest thing on a bow is when you're as a mobile hunter, like pulling your bow up in the morning, in the dark, in the shit.
Yeah.
Like you've got briars. I mean, I always seem to find the nastiest trees that I've got to be in. And it's like every once in a while, we all hate that nightmare scenario where you're like, oh shit, oh, my bow's not coming up. Oh God, what's it stuck on? Please don't let my sight
Yeah.
get bumped. So it's just a huge peace of mind thing to me. Like that, if my sight gets bumped, I'm not worried about it getting, being off or anything like that. Everything's super tight on there. And,
hmm
that's kind of like the whole principle behind buying a quality site is the dependability, the durability, and being able to be able to see your site when it's whatever scenario you're in. So
You'd be shocked at how many people still come up to us at like TAC events and they pick up the proof or the Arxos back when we had the Arxos. Like they pick it up for the first time. They're like, "Oh man, that feels really solid." And they're like, isn't it made out of plastic?"
oh
And we're
really?
like, "No, no, no, no. This is made out of aluminum and steel components."
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's like they think the color means that it has to be made out of plastic.
No, no, you guys
But
did such a good
no,
job
it's
doing the Cerakote. I was so stoked to see a company pick up Cerakote just for the customization. Like I used to help a buddy of mine spray Cerakote for like gun parts and stuff, and I know how durable that stuff is. It's great, and it's really heat resistant and water resistant. So it's
yeah,
really cool to see that incorporated in there too.
yeah,
One of the other questions
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Taylor, like since you're in the creative space, like, do you feel like that's really like helped you have like more of an edge, in business and doing this kind of stuff? I feel like I'm really lucky. I'm sure my good friend Jacob Leishan. He's in the
Yep.
creative space, and I feel like you guys are just tick a little bit different than other people. Like you've got a really different way of looking at things, and in marketing too for your company. I mean, it's been great. Like I feel like you guys have really shined, in your marketing and how you approach things. Has it been extra help, like, or more eye opening, having that background in the beginning before you started?
I suppose as the being at ground level here, I suppose that my answer to that question would be I don't know any other way.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what it's like to not be that way, but yeah, I mean, it 100% has helped us to be from the marketing and creative perspectives of Dialed Archery. Jordan and I have been able to, Jordan's our creative director and I'm the marketing director. And he and I are able to come up with an idea at 10 o'clock in the morning and have it executed by 2 o'clock and posted by 3 o'clock. So we're able to be very nimble that way, and shoot everything in house instead of having to pay, big marketing companies or creative agencies to do the work. So it's that's 100% helped us out on the monetary side. But then on the creative side, I would agree with you. I've never really thought about it, but I mean, having a creator has to have a mindset of like the whiteboard's always empty.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly looking at like a blank piece of paper, because you have to do it at the beginning of every project, every video you make, every photo shoot you go into is like, okay, how am I going to make this one different? How am I going to make these stand out? What's the final outcome need to be? So you've played those scenarios and gone through those repetitions so many times in your career that when it comes to running a business, you hit those points many times throughout every facet of business of just needing to be, honestly, to use the same word, you have to be creative
Yeah.
with like, how are you going to solve this problem?
Hmm.
How are you going to, how are you going to uh, get, how are the employees going to take this? You have to kind of like work through these problems and be creative the whole time. So knowing or going through the repetitions, I always say consistency is key, and like going through the repetitions of hitting problems and solving it teaches you as a business owner and a leader to constant like you're never going to hit a problem that you can't solve or
Right.
that you can't figure out.
Right.
You just have to you might just not know the answer at the beginning,
Hmm.
and you you just have to, you can't sit there and not try to fix it or sit there and dwell on it. You just got to start trying to solve it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been, I would say it definitely helps to have that mindset.
Yeah, man. It's really interesting. I'm really happy to be able to share time with Jacob and, a lot of our other guests too. And it's like, I feel like you guys you look at things a little bit differently than, your normal guys that don't have the ability to go out and like think of, okay, I'm going to take this shot and it's going to, and then just the way it can come out, like I
Yep.
wish I was better at it. I really try hard to, and I feel like I've grown a lot in the past couple of years as far as trying to get more creative with filming and like, pictures and angles and all that stuff. And it is really interesting. I'm really glad for your time. We're kind of approaching, closing out on this
Yeah.
one, but I have a
Yeah,
couple
man.
little
No,
rapid fire questions if you don't mind, and I'll let you go.
yeah, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
one thing I always love asking our guests: what's your favorite broadhead you've run in your entirety?
I'd have to say back in the day, it was the Muzzies.
Okay.
Like I grew up shooting Muzzy 3 blade,
Yep.
100 grain. I killed a lot of deer with those. I don't use them anymore.
Yeah.
After I started trying to shoot farther, I had to stop shooting those because I couldn't tune them past like 40 yards. But man, those things, I killed a lot of deer with those.
Yeah. What do you shoot now?
I shoot a mix, but I still use fixed blades. This last year, I was using Vantage Point Archery.
Okay.
They've got the Omega broadhead.
Okay.
That's what I was using last year.
Nice. Favorite song when you're pumped up to go hit the woods? What are you jamming to?
Oh man,
I
I
know
feel
it's a
like
tough one, but do your best.
yeah, I feel like you can't go wrong with like Ted Nugent,
Amen.
like Fred Bear or
All
Stranglehold.
right, I'm with you. I'm with you. That's what
Yeah.
when I was a kid, that's all my dad would always jam to, and we'd be going down the road to go hunting. So I support that one. What is your number one bucket list hunt that you maybe you've done or like you aspire to do?
I That would 100% be a Canadian moose hunt with a
Awesome.
bow.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
would love to do that.
Yeah, that's on the mine would probably be a red stag, but that's number two right there. I don't know what it is. I
Yeah.
just think the red stags have such a cool rack, and I've always wanted to
Oh yeah.
go out there to New Zealand. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for your time, buddy. I really appreciate you jumping on here and doing this with me. It was an honor. How can what is a lead time now if some of our listeners want to jump on and get a site?
Yeah. So right now it's 3 to 4 weeks is what our advertised lead time is on the website. But to be honest, we've been shipping pretty much every order's been shipping within like 10 to 14 days right now. And that lead time isn't for us to make parts for the site. It's simply a build queue. We've gotten so much support and we can't thank our customer base enough, but we've just been hit with so many orders that we just need that build time to get the sites built on the tables. So yeah, right now it's about I'd say realistically it's like a 2 to 3 week lead time.
Yeah. You guys are
So
really
if you
smart
place an
about
order
doing that
today,
too. I know I had a 3 to 4 week lead time and I got my site in like 2 weeks. So I was super excited, it like came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, heck yeah, cool. So
yeah,
keep that up. That's awesome.
yeah,
But where
yeah,
can our guys keep up with you, man? I mean, obviously Dialed Archery, but are you more on Instagram or?
yeah. Best place to follow us is on Instagram. We've got two Instagram pages, the Dialed Archery page, so just at Dialed Archery, and then there's at Dialed Archery Shop,
Gotcha.
which is just a second page that we post more informal, kind of off the cuff cell phone pictures and stuff from around HQ.
Yeah. Make sure you guys are doing that. Did you do your giveaway? I know you did what is it? Is it 10,000 follower give or what
We
50,000?
we did 50
50,000. Yeah.
50,000. We just hit 50,000 followers on Instagram, and we did that giveaway. Colin Riley won it last
Okay.
week. We posted about that end of last week.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we've got some giveaways coming up with a few collaborative companies here. Actually, Lone Wolf Custom Gear. This is the first time the public's hearing about this, but
Oh, cool.
the the third week of July, there's going to be some fun stuff coming out with a collaborative project with Lone Wolf Custom Gear and Dialed Archery. So
Awesome. Sweet.
more to come on that.
There you go. Well, hey, guys, I appreciate you all tuning in today. Taylor, thank you again so much. And make sure you guys are following Dialed Archery. And if you're in the need for a new site, make sure you get one. Highly recommend. And we'll catch up with you all next week.